witch house.
So creepy. We're not going in there.
Well, we can't go in there. It's only 14 inches high.
Oh.
We built it, remember?
Right. This is the first time we've ever built anything like this. You'd think I'd remember.
Seriously. Maybe watching this video will jog your memory.
Good idea.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Now, this is not a tutorial video.
No. We don't know what we're doing.
We have no idea what we're doing.
Right?
We really just learned as we went along.
Yes.
Some of what we learned, though, was what kind of tools and materials could be useful if you want to build a witch house.
Right.
Now, you could build the structure out of foam core or cardboard. Either one, really. We happen to use both.
Yeah, and you need something to cut all that foam and cardboard, so you need scissors and knives and stuff.
Right, and of course, once it's cut apart, you got to glue it all back together.
Yes.
So you need all different kinds of glue, and sometimes even spackle or putty or wood filler or something for repairing and filling in gaps.
And paint.
Oh my gosh.
Burn through a bunch of paint.
Burn through a ton of paint and patience.
Yes.
Because you can only scald yourself with hot glue so many times before you start filling up the swear jar.
It's true.
My gosh. Now, we wanted to build a witch house.
Yeah.
We had a design. I'll show that later in the video.
Okay.
And we just wanted a 3D physical representation of that design.
Right.
I literally cannot remember why we wanted to do this, though.
For fun. It's fun.
It is fun. It is fun.
Yeah. Plus, we thought it'd make a nice backdrop for some of the sculpture
That's
we've been
true.
working on.
Right. And we like trying new things.
Yeah.
So we had a host of reasons to do this. And to get started, we thought we'd see if anyone else had built a witch house.
Right.
So we searched the internet, and boy, oh boy, we were overwhelmed with the number of how to build a witch house videos.
Right. It's true. There are so many.
There's a lot.
And the material and techniques vary a little from builder to builder. So we learned a few different ways of doing things.
Absolutely. We had a nice range of methods and materials to choose from.
Yeah.
I think we learned a lot about all different kinds of stuff during the process, watching a bunch of different people do this.
Oh, I know. Like glue?
Oh, right.
I know so much about so many different kinds
Me too.
of glue now that I've never known before.
Right, and I also know that no matter how much we've learned about glue, we've apparently only scratched the surface.
Right?
One thing that was interesting was one of the first witch house build videos we saw.
Right.
It was somebody making a real fantasy-themed witch house.
Yes.
Kind of fun and bouncy and cool, and it was inspiring just watching them build it entirely out of cardboard.
Oh, right, that's right.
And then as we started searching for other witch house videos,
Yes.
there were a lot of people that they seemed to be inspired by the same design.
Yeah.
Like the same design kept showing up over and over and over again.
Yeah, it did.
And I don't know where that design comes from.
Right.
I don't know who developed it. I don't know if it's an outside source, if they're using some movie or animation, or if they're borrowing from each other's ideas. Whatever it was, I knew that we didn't want to do that house.
Right.
So many people have already done that house.
Yeah.
So we had to come up with our own design. Plus, I just like doing our own stuff,
Right.
our own designs, especially for this project.
Yeah.
It's a little more challenging.
Right.
And, I don't know, the house we came up with, I think it's solid. It may not be as ornate as some of the others.
Right.
But it's a lot of fun, and we had a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, and I like the design you came up with.
Well, let's take a look at it then. This is our basic house.
Yeah.
And everything is just its natural color.
Right.
White.
Yes.
Boring. So I told you I was going to show you the design.
Yeah.
And our design for our witch house was based on this witch house from a comic that I made. It's just a creepy, ramshackle house in the middle of a dark forest.
Yes.
That some local kids go to investigate in the middle of the night. Yeah, it's a creepy story, and I guess I just wanted to see what it would be like if we had a 3D version of this house.
I know.
So to get started, the first thing we had to do, once the base structure was built, was we had to slap on a black base coat.
Yes.
That's how we started. And then the next step was...
a ton of paint.
A ton of paint, yes. When you were a kid, was there a house in your town that all the kids referred to as the witch house?
Oh, no. But there were some scary ones, but nothing we called the witch house.
We had a witch house in my town.
Really?
Well, it was a house that, from the time I was a kid, on up through my teenage years, everyone just called it the witch house. And, I mean, you knew which house they were talking about.
Was it a scary looking house?
First, it was at the end of a long, lonely road bordered on both sides by tall, thick woods. So even in the daylight, the trees prevented too much sun from getting to that patch of road. And at night, it was even darker. And you really always speculated about what was lurking in the woods.
Oh, God.
Exactly. So you drive up this long, dark road, and then it forked. And if you followed the right fork, you'd see, set back a ways from the road in some tall grass, a small, dark, very eerie-looking house with like odd statuary in the yard.
Wow.
And it always gave off like a foreboding vibe.
Oh,
like a witch house.
Did a witch live there?
Who knows? It was probably just some nice family that nobody ever saw. But that's the thing. You never saw anybody outside that house.
Oh.
I don't recall seeing a car parked there or any overt activity.
Right.
But if you went by at night sometimes, you'd see that there was a light coming from inside the house.
Oh, okay.
And one night, there was an incident.
An incident?
Yeah. I'll tell you about it after this part.
Okay.
So here's a tip that I will share. It's not a tutorial, but this is a tip.
Okay.
It might be a very obvious thing.
Yeah.
But being our first time building this, we weren't really thinking of all of our options, and we made a few mistakes.
Yeah, a few dozen.
More than a few, right?
Yeah.
So the tip is, if you're going to have curtains in your witch house,
Yes.
then you should decide that long before you glue the roof on the house.
Right.
Alternately,
Yeah.
work with someone who has arms that will fit inside the door and are long enough to reach all the windows to place the curtains.
Right.
Nice job.
Thank you. Okay, so the incident at the witch house.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, I'm a teenager.
Yeah.
And I'm riding around one night with 3 of my friends looking for something to do.
Sounds wholesome.
Yeah, so it does not escape my notice that on this particularly dark night in October, my friend is driving us down that spooky wooded road that leads to the witch house.
Oh, boy.
Now, I admit, I think I let the witch house haunt me for much longer than my friends did.
Okay.
Because when I mentioned that we should avoid passing the witch house in the night,
Yeah.
I got some laughs,
Yeah.
a few jeers. The driver decided at that point, no, we are definitely driving by the witch house. I think it was just to teach me a lesson.
What lesson?
I don't know. Shut up, Vince. It's actually a pretty useful lesson. It comes in handy.
Okay.
So we get to the fork in the road, and he turns toward the witch house.
Oh, no.
And I can see the shadow of it in the moonlight.
Oh, no.
And since there are no other cars around, nobody,
Yeah.
and the road is deserted, the driver, my friend,
Yes.
he thought it would be hilarious to slow to a crawl as we passed by the witch house.
Of course.
Now, we're surrounded by creepy woods.
Yes.
There's no one around. The witch house is just like staring back at me through the car window. And I admit I freak out a little bit.
Yeah.
I whined and I complained about hitting the gas.
Okay.
And getting out of there because this is how horror movies start.
Right?
You know, I was saying all that stuff and we passed the house.
Yeah.
And my heart is thumping, but I figure it's over.
Okay.
But no.
No.
The house was on the opposite side of the road from my seat in the car.
Yeah.
So the driver decides he wants to do a turn in the road, like a K-turn, and crawl by it again, this time with me 20 feet closer to the house.
Of course.
So he's having a grand time trying to give me the shivers.
Yeah.
And I admit, it was working.
Yes.
I was a little freaked out. I
would
let
be
myself
too.
get scared. So he's backing up.
Okay.
Agonizingly slow. And we're getting closer and closer to this witch house. And I'm just flipping out.
Yeah.
I'm begging him not to do it, you know,
Right.
and suddenly the whole car feels like it's being lifted and tossed around.
What?
Yeah, we were actually lifted out of our seats. The whole thing comes crashing
my
down
gosh.
in a sudden thud. And we're all tilted sideways in our seatbelts.
Oh my God, what happened?
My friend, going into his 3-point turn, forgot that on this stretch of creepy, dark, wooded road,
Yeah.
there is a 4 or 5 foot ditch along the entire length of the road. So his entire car,
Okay.
his parents' car actually, is now in the ditch at a 45-degree angle. The front tires are dangling over the blacktop, and
my God.
4 idiot teenagers are sweating bullets inside.
How did you get out?
Well, I guess after a lot of finger pointing and blame,
Yeah.
and a lot of it coming my way for some reason, I have no idea. A tow truck had to pull us out.
Oh my God.
A haunted tow truck. No, it was a regular tow truck.
Oh, good.
Back to the house.
Okay. And there's the last piece of the puzzle.
Right.
The lantern.
Exactly. This
Yeah.
lantern experiment, it kind of worked out pretty well.
It did,
I like
yeah.
the way it looks.
Yes.
And here is the finished witch house.
It looks, I'd move in there.
I would consider it.
Yeah.
It's got a cozy feel in this late afternoon light.
It does, yeah.
But let's revisit it at night.
Oh, there's the witch house.
Oh yeah, that's much spookier.
Yeah.
And it's like a comic book style spooky.
Right.
We've seen people build the fantasy witch houses.
Yeah.
And like a fairy tale style witch house. And those were great.
Yes.
I liked them.
Me too.
But we were aiming for something that was, I think, squarely between Casper the Ghost comics and The Evil Dead. So something like that.
Yeah, I like it.
I like it too.
And I do think it looks kind of real.
It does look like a real house.
Like you could walk up on that in the woods. And a witch would come out and grab you.
Yeah.
That's the scary part.
The scary part is actually how long it took. It took forever to make this thing.
Oh, the bulkhead.
Yeah.
Do we have video of that opening up? The bulkhead door swings open, and that's where we keep the lighting for the house.
Do we have video? Of course we have video.
Oh, good.
And we still have a lot planned for the house.
Yes.
Remember, the title of the video is Building a Witch House Part 1, The Buildening. Which means there's going to be a sequel.
Right.
But, you know, we've got a ton of other stuff we want to do with this house.
Yes.
I guess keep an eye out for the video, but it's going to take a while.
Because we need to learn some new stuff first.
Yeah, we have to learn some techniques. We have to learn some stuff.
But there will be a sequel.
Yeah. Let's let the witch out so she can do a flyover and get some aerial shots of the house, and then we're out of here.
Okay.
Congrats.
Congrats.
Congrats on your first witch house.
You too. Good job.